Coaches across the country used the Coachpad this past season to be more efficient with their scout card prep on the weekends as well as when out on the practice field working with their scout teams. Whether you're a coach using a computer program to create cards or drawing them by hand, the Coachpad is for you. Never printing paper or stuffing a binder, clearly seeing scout cards outdoors in the bright sun, and using the coach pad on game days, syncing diagrams from the press box to the sideline were some of the features coaches enjoyed this season. This offseason, get your coach pad at thecoachpad.com to get your program ready for next season. Thecoachpad.com.
Welcome back to another episode of the Gap Down Backer Podcast. Today we have a friend of the channel. He is the O-line coach and run game coordinator at Addison Trail High School out there in Illinois. Coach Steve, how you doing?
I am fantastic. How are you, Coach Bandstra?
I'm doing good. Should we ignore the fact that both our NFL teams are not in the playoffs and have no shot at a future?
Yeah, we can skip that. That's a normal year. Well, not for the Bengals, but the Bears. That's
no, it is. I mean, I've got the past couple years have been fine, but let's be honest, statistically, in my lifetime, I mean, the 90s it doesn't look bad.
Yeah, we'll just ignore that. You know, the Bears. Yeah, they will ignore that.
I mean, my Bobcats won a playoff bowl game though, so that's a and won 10-year games back-to-back years. So we can focus on that. That'd be nice. So
yeah, that's a positive. I mean, I was at the Bears game on Sunday when the snow, so that was experience.
We really haven't had any snow. I generally think in this year, I mean, we've had two that have somewhat stuck. Halloween and the other like Saturday or Sunday. We've not had in Western Ohio here. Nothing's it's cold as crap right now, but it's not I mean, it's not snowing. And when it does like precipitate, it's warm enough just to rain. So
yeah, that's what Sunday was. It was walking up those stairs in the spaceship part of Soldier Field, and it was just slush because it was rain. It was snow rain, and you almost fell going down the stairs, up the stairs because of how wet it was. And then when you sat there, you just wanted to sit there. You didn't want to move. But you know, that's how it was. Yeah, we haven't really had snow yet either. Knock on wood.
Now since last time, I know you were at Addison last time we talked on my end. Has anything changed since last time? Obviously, you've decorated your podcast room there successfully since last time you were on my channel, and even since last time I was on yours. But I mean, I know you're coaching all three sports now at Addison. Is there anything else? I mean, change wise, because I don't think there's anything.
I mean, I was coaching football, basketball at Addison the last time I talked to you, baseball at York, which is what I'm wearing right now. So that's a different school. But I just got a softball gig at Addison. So now I'm going to do football, basketball, softball, all at Addison. So it's all at one spot.
That'd be nicer for you. And even from a tax purpose, that'd be nicer.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to find it's just one W-2 throughout. I mean, and you guys had a pretty good year this year, right? Like, I mean, you guys, I see, like, I mean, it was a better year overall compared to the past prior at Addison.
Yeah, football. I guess the short version is we ended up going 6-3. It was the first time the school had made the playoffs since 2014. It was the first time. We go on the road. We play a team in the city. We play at a school. We play a school called Lincoln Park, but a lot of schools in Chicago, public schools, don't have their own fields. So there's just a bunch of fields they can use. It's a place called Lane Tech. It looked awesome. It looked like a Division III school, like the way it was built. It was awesome. It's near Wrigley Field. We go in there, rainy, and win. And it was the first road playoff win for the school since 1997. So that was awesome. We get our second round. It's a home playoff game. First home one since 2014 also. We're the 25th ranked team in Class 7A. We're going against the number 8 or 9 school. It's a school that I coached at for a year too, so I knew all the coaches, and we were toe-to-toe with them for a long time, and I think we turned the ball over 5 times though, and that was kind of it, but we were toe to toe with them forever. We only lost by like 10 points, maybe. So overall, it was a good season. A lot of question marks going into the season, also, but we, the overall synopsis of it was our kids never quit. Like, and I hate saying the word quit, but like last year, if a team scored on us first, it was just like the air got taken out of our balloon. This year, if a team scored on us, it was just like, oh well, like they scored on us, and then if we don't score, and we're just like, well, we'll stop them, and that was kind of what happened with us this year. I mean, we started the season 2-0, first time the school had gone 2-0 since like 2011. Like it was just these constant record or not record breaking, but like finally getting it back to where we wanted it to be. Um, we end up being third in the conference, which was good for us. We're always at the bottom. Um, we had a sophomore quarterback. We had a transfer running back in. Just a bunch of different things, and just we stayed healthy. That was the biggest part, was staying healthy. So yeah, that's the short version. But yeah, pretty good season. It's a bad taste in our mouth. We should have won the second round. Like we were watching it, rewatching it. We're like, we didn't fumble it 5 times or whatever it was. We win that game. And we'd have another home playoff game. So yeah, it was good. The playoff game, everybody in Addison was there, and it was awesome. Um, and now the kids are kind of like back onto football. Football was just kind of the brush off. Now you got kids like, I want to work on things, I want to do things. So hopefully it turns it around. But yeah, awesome season. Awesome.
Good. Now, I mean, I know when we first talked, God, what was that 4 years ago now? 3.5?
Yeah.
God, I know.
Almost.
It's like a different lifetime. Because I mean, as people joke, the COVID years add like 2 years to your
Yeah. Yeah.
it feels like forever. And it's also weird saying that it was 4 years ago. Because this is about the time people were starting to get sick before people knew what the hell it was.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, how have you guys offensively evolved? Because I know when we got together and met, taught it like it was inside zone, inside zone, inside zone, inside zone, inside zone, and you were a happy little air raid fanboy. How have you
Mhm.
guys, Biker Leach, God rest his soul,
Mhm.
how have you evolved since then?
We haven't. I mean, let me try to say this as quickly as possible. Illinois was super weird other than other states. And COVID, I started this podcast almost 4 years ago next month, if you think about it. Like it's crazy. And then you started yours right after. So it's crazy. It's almost 4 years. We had 2 seasons in 1 year. So we had the spring season of 2021, and then we played again in the fall. That spring, we had such little time because in January they said, hey, now you can start doing stuff. And so it was like, do we want to put inside zone power, counter, this, and that? So literally our first game was inside zone and ISO. That was it. Like that's all we had. Then going into the fall, we went into that year with inside zone, ISO, power, and trap. And we're like, this is what we're going to do. We went through 5 quarterbacks, 4 tight ends, 3 linebackers. I never had the same starting O line because we were getting hurt. So it turned into we can only really do inside zone, ISO, power read. Like that's all we can do. We go 0-9. Last year we go 2-7. We put in wide zone, inside zone, ISO, and power and a little bit of counter. And that's our run scheme. This year, I started to put in duo, inside zone, wide zone. That's who we were going to be. Duo was a little hard for the kids. So we stayed with inside zone, wide zone, still did our power read. We didn't have the guys to run traditional power. And we still kind of did the ISO stuff. We still then we put in toss this year, like true traditional sweep toss. And that's just kind of what we did. And so that's kind of how it's evolved. This year was more of that stuff because you had a young quarterback. Last year we were more, I think, passer heavy because we had a 6'3", 185-pound quarterback that we were like, you just kind of have to throw it. This year, when you have a sophomore quarterback that's younger, smaller, we have 3 running backs we can use. I have an experienced offensive line up front. They were all seniors. our best player was coming back. He could play quarterback, wide receiver, tight end. It doesn't matter. He came back. So we started to do more condensed formations this year. We still ran all that stuff. And a lot of our throws were quick game, a couple quick or longer passes, a lot of stuff off inside zone and wide zone boot stuff. We were a pistol team this year, so that's kind of how it's evolved. Um, a lot of more motion this year because we could. So that's kind of how it's evolved. Because how the COVID year went, the head coach was an assistant coach at Addison Trail, got the head coaching job this time in 2020. Like January of 2020, he got the job. Then COVID hits. So now we're kind of finally in that situation where like the culture and our schemes are kind of carrying over from what we were trying to do. But when we constantly were changing, it was bad. So this was like the second season we kind of had the same things put in. You can call us, we run air raid concepts. I guess we have mesh and shallow and whatever, but I wouldn't sit there and say like, oh, we're going to throw. Our OC wants to run the ball. He wants to suck the box up and then throw it behind him. We want to go double tight. We want to do wings with a tight end. We practiced shifts all year, never used them until the playoffs. So we're shifting to unbalance. You would have loved it. Like, oh, there's 5 linemen on one side. Like that, we would just shift to that. We practiced it all year. Nobody saw it once until that first round playoff game. So that's kind of how we evolved. This year, our best plays were probably wide zone and toss. Like, even though I love inside zone, it didn't work the way it needed to. And people might hate me. I had to go back to traditional inside zone because teams were starting to slant on us and disrupting our double team. So I had to do the whole step and just cover somebody up, which worked a lot better for us this year because nobody does it anymore. So for them to practice that, practice wide zone, to practice our toss, to practice our power read with a running quarterback, power switch where we could just kick out and wrap up behind him. Like, so that's kind of how that's all evolved from since I've been here. Some things will evolve again for next year because we're going to have a little different linemen, but the whole gap scheme thing kind of went away. We don't have a true kick out guy. We don't have a true fullback type. And then everything was just mainly pistol, some sidecar, but if it was sidecar, we were even. We just didn't have the running backs with the vision. So that's kind of how it evolved. Pistol was great for us this year, though, I will say.
You're getting one step closer to that in our center life. That's
Hey, I tried. I come in and I said, can we just be pistol wing this year? I walked in and I said, can we just do that? Our head coach would love to be under center and run, I formation, all that stuff. And I said, how about you level with me? Let's just go straight pistol wing. But some of the athletes we had to be more condensed or do different things. Like I said, all of our wide receivers and stuff were juniors or sophomores. So we just kind of had to live in that world.
okay. And then like I mean, one, it's going to suck, but you lose 5 starting offensive linemen going into next year, which is going to be horrid. But I mean, how are you prepping to fix that problem? Because I mean, obviously, it's really nice when you have 5 seniors. They can do some stuff and so forth, but now you got a whole new slate. How are you kind of prepping for that, or did you instill any of that in the fall? Like, okay, I'm gonna start getting some of these guys as reps when we can. What is that kind of looking like prepping for next year with a I don't know, experience line? I'll phrase it that way.
Well, I keep my hair short because the gray hairs will continue to show themselves. So we started the year with 5. This is how my year started. One of our senior linemen, some medical diagnosis, he couldn't play football. So right off the bat, we lose a lineman. But the rest were still seniors. One of them got hurt, so I ended up having to play the sophomore a lot. So he got some time. And I have to correct you, my left guard is a junior. So I'm graduating. I think 4 starters were seniors. One got hurt, so I had to rotate in the sophomore a little bit. So sadly, we did not play our JV guys in some games. And so that part scares me a little bit. We didn't have to. To prepare, I'm going to try, and the head coach, we're going to try to start this like this offensive line club. Like we're gonna come in 2 times a week in the morning. We're gonna lift. I can bring food. We're gonna try to have these t-shirts. We're gonna earn t-shirts. I'm gonna try to have them do quick 15-minute sprint workouts. Like try to do that feed the cats thing as I slowly plant that seed in our program from the people that are pushing back. Um, Try to make it fun, and then I have to simplify, I think, even more than what I have in the past. So that's why we're still going to stick to our run stuff, but it's going to be tough, especially because I'm losing my right guard. Played every single spot on the offensive line, started since he was a sophomore. That was the leader, and losing all of them are going to hurt. Losing him is going to hurt the most, um, because he was a linebacker and right guard, and he just controlled everything. So I have to stay on these young guys to keep coming to stuff. I gotta make it fun. It can't be, hey, just show up and lift and be miserable. It has to be, if you guys show up to a certain percentage, I give you a t-shirt. If you show up to a certain percentage, I have hats. Um, if you do so much, I'm gonna bring you coffee and breakfast, and gotta have it be fun. I've never done this before. I never typed up like a manual thing or this presentation of O-line. It was just always me coming in. Last year was the first time I did it. And I think if I keep showing that and showing them the expectations and having that stuff, it's helped them a little bit, especially the winning helped. But it's going to be a struggle with the O-line, just from experience wise. Like I would teach the O-lineman last year for one run play. Here's 3 ways you can get to this guy to block him. I don't care which way you use, just use one of these 3. With this group next year, it may not be that simple. You have to do it this way until I trust you. And it's going to be a struggle. I think we'll still win some games next year, but it's going to be more, we may have to throw it a little more. We may have to jet sweep it. We may have to do whatever, but I got to find a way to make it fun. And that's what I did last year too. And I'm going to have to keep growing it. The All Lineman Club, I'm excited for if I can get that going. I call us the big cats up front, is what I call us. I know we're the Blazers, but we're the big cats, man. We got to feast. We got to pounce on people when they're weak. We got to attack. We got to be quick. So hopefully that works, but that's kind of my plan. And I got to start doing it soon because, oh my God, it's already January. Like, got to start doing it.
Last year, I called a lot of my linemen elephants because we ran wide zone, and I stole some. I forget who I listened to last off season, and they talked about like it should look like elephants on a parade. So I kept just call. I just kept calling them elephants. Like it's and I mean it's not really a derogatory term. Like I mean, elephants naturally don't move quick, but when they move, like they will move.
Yeah,
and they're just big and forceful
yeah.
animals. Because our buddy, he's now at crap. What he used to be at South Dakota.
He's at Valpo now.
Yeah, so he's at Valpo, so he's no longer the Hippos. I forget what he switched to.
The rhinos, yes. I think.
Yeah. So like, I mean, I still trying to figure out how to. We're trains, we're railroaders, so it's kind of hard to. I got to figure out, like, I got to figure out something here. Still, that's kind of my mission for this year because we return some. But yeah, I mean, that's just I know. And then kind of one of my last questions is like, I mean, how are the podcasts been going? Like, obviously, like when we first met, I think the Coach Steve show was, I don't think it was labeled the Coach Steve show. I forget what it was.
No.
And then you've had various integrations. So you've had just football, you've had this, it turns into a catch-all. I know you've had separate ones with certain people, and on certain things. Kind of how has that, I mean, kind of where are you at with it now? Like, I know you've been filming a lot lately, like I have, and I don't know, like yours is probably with me going to come out before mine comes out with you, but kind of where are you kind of at, and how are the guests coming along?
It was called Sidelines with Coach Steve. Like it was a very stupid name. It's good. I mean, it's not your show. Your YouTube channel is huge. It's nothing like that. It's still a small production. The guests are fantastic. Like I'm sure you find out. I'm always shocked when a college coach or somebody says yes. Like it's just this weird thing. Um, I told some of these coaches, like when I just told Coach Derek Leonard, he 9-time state title winning coach. He was asking me about this podcast before I hit record. He was interested, and I said it's funny. Started during COVID, then I met like Coach Bandstra and Coach Sheffer, and then they started one. Then it became like a friendly competition of like, well, Coach Banstra's filming 10 times a day. I got to film 12 times a day. Like it just became
It was
this
unhealthy.
little competition. No, it was unhealthy. But we had nothing else to do, so it was completely unhealthy. So the podcast itself is fine, but it's just a hodgepodge, and the reason why it doesn't get a lot of views because it's a hodgepodge. And what do I mean by a hodgepodge? Well, you're going to have stuff like this. Like I've been doing nothing but recording with coaches, like college coaches, high school coaches. There's no scheme really because we all can find scheme. I want to know about their leadership. What's their culture room like? How did they get to coaching? Where have they been? Transfer portal, if it's college stuff, can you tell me the real about transfer portals? Because I don't trust ESPN and Fox Sports and all those idiots that and tell us stuff. Like I want to hear from a coach. But then it's a hodgepodge. So then last year I was real big on Illinois basketball and football. Got on there to talk about those sports. Me and my buddy are geeks, so we love Marvel. We hop on and talk about Marvel stuff. I try to talk about. We have another buddy. He just moved to Arizona. We talk about the Bears. We hop on and talk about Chicago Bears. So it's just a hodgepodge. Where is it at now? Well, gosh, almost 600 episodes. It's getting pretty close. If I keep counting them, with just talking to people, if you count the Marvel stuff, it's at like 700.
You have 747 videos on your channel.
Yeah, so it's a lot. It's a lot. Now, some of those are clips. Some of those are whatever.
Mine's the same. Like I have, God, I don't even know how to look at it's. See, like this is where I have to like switch YouTube accounts because I have one for like actual football stuff and one for like personal watching. I have 819 videos on mine, and that's counting. I've been putting out like daily shorts. So,
yeah,
I mean,
I tried to do that too. The shorts were getting views, but I get too busy. But that's kind of where it's at. As you know, it's hard to do it during football. Like there's no time to do it during football. I do basketball and a spring sport, so it's really tough. The summer's where I'm going to kill it. But that's kind of where it is. It's not for everybody. Yours has a lot of good clinics and schemes, and people are always going to look at it. I sometimes have to go back and find and look. But mine doesn't really have that. Some of it is. Some of it I ask questions. But one thing I found, it's Joe Rogan style. Every time somebody messages me, he goes, "What are we going to talk about? What's the topic? What's this?" And I straight up tell them, it's Joe Rogan style. It's real funny. Me and Coach Carrick, Flexbone 101, as soon as he hops on, I hit record. As soon as he jumps on, I hit the record button. We just go. And next thing you know, an hour and a half has gone by or 2 hours has gone by. And it's not for everybody. Like we went into a deep dive of public school versus private school in Illinois, and that took 40 some minutes right there. Because he's private and I'm public. But so we talked about it. It's Joe Rogan style, and that's kind of where I want to go with it is it can talk scheme. You can show me stuff. Like if I get Coach Arnett, I'm sure he'll show me something because he wants to. And that's fine. Love it. I absolutely love it.
I love John so much.
I do too. And I'm okay with it. But I will say this. Every time I talk to a college coach, as soon as we're done, they thank me like 4 times about how it's not like an interview. It's discussion of things outside of scheme because that's all they do all day. They just do scheme. They're doing this. They're doing this. You ask them things outside of that, they love it. And so that's what I'm sticking with. Like, they give us their personal phone numbers. I text them Merry Christmas. You stay involved, and it's very cool. Like Coach Nord, he was the O-line coach for the Raging Cajuns. Somehow me and him became buddies. He just got the O-line job at Duke. So I sent him a message like, congratulations on getting the job at Duke. Will you come back on the podcast? He goes, once I get moved in, I'm back on. Like, it's just those type of things. If I have a quick question about something, I send him a text and boom, you know how it is. So that's just kind of where it is. Will I ever stop it? Probably not. But one day, hopefully it booms. But
mean, you have. I mean, like I think last time you were on, you were like under 100 subscribers on my, like when you came on my show last time, and you're at. I mean, I'm looking at it, you're at over 620. I mean, it's like it's
Yeah,
growing. Like you know, as I do. I got lucky because I had clinics on during COVID, so that's
yeah.
kind of that's. I mean, that's the main reason this boomed. Uh,
Uh-huh. Yep.
for me as quickly, and then it's kind of it's just now just a steady. Because I don't do I mean I have coaches that come on and they'll do a full clinic they'll during the
Yep.
podcast or do stuff, but a lot of these are just Q&A, us talking, us BS. I'll ask them seed questions, but also just we're just talking. And other things affect me. Like I mean I've grown up my hair in a lot of part inspired by John Arnett. I
I was
mean
gonna say, you got the flowing mane now.
slowly it's getting there. Like it's so like and it's a lot inspired by John because John pointed out like he's just thinning and um it's was kind of a thing for him to grow it out and last chance, and
Well,
I'm
he's
kind of the same way.
he's withering away too.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's good for him. I mean, he's lost a bunch of weight, and so I mean, he's enjoying life down there in Western Texas as much as you can. It's a different. That's a whole different world.
Yeah,
Western Texas. I
yeah.
mean, I mean, I mean, there are like 4 different parts of Texas, and Western Texas, you just gotta be different to live there. It's just a different culture, different terrain than the coastal area or
Yeah.
northeast, or it's like if you live in like example like the Lubbock area, like you're in a valley, so it's just
Okay.
completely different concept. You go really west, you're talking desert, and it's being 119 degrees, like El Paso, and then
Is
like the East Coast is
Doesn't
humid.
John get snow? Yeah, John gets snow and stuff.
Yeah, could be just because of where he's close enough to mountains and like the valleys and stuff in that whole area will create snow. Whereas if you go down like San Antonio and Austin, you really don't see much. So it's like it's like 3 or 4 different climates. Like you go really eastern, you're starting to hit the Gators and the swampland kind of like Louisiana. So I mean, it's just a whole different hodgepodge of things. And I'm just curious. I'm curious because like I looked through your list and um, who, I mean, and you can lie and not tell me or say you don't have one, but that'd be a lie too. Um, like who out of like all your guests, like not necessarily your favorite, but who's been like the most fun? Like just out of curiosity, like when you look through your like videos and think back on it, like who do you just like 1 or 2 people that you're just like, ooh, these are, or you could, or just are great episodes just because they're just natural and good.
Oh gosh, that's a tough one. Um, Arnett's up there just because you feel like you have to run through a brick wall after you talk to him. Um, my gosh, that's a tough question. Uh, I love my talks with Gardner. I love those talks to have. One of my favorites that's not got a lot of views, and I don't know why it was one of my favorites, was Coach Norwood. You know, he was like I just brought him up. I saw him at the clinic in Oak Brook in Chicago last year, and just watching him up there, he was probably more intense than Arnett, like that type of thing. And so I had reached out to him later on, and I said, "Great clinic." He followed me. Cool. Send him a message. I told him I just want to talk to you. It was kind of like a Joe Rogan. It literally was Joe Rogan. Like, hey, you're interesting. I want to talk to you. Boom. Very fired up. Loved it. Love Prevost. Those are always my favorite. It's a lot of the repeat people. Ones that aren't repeat people. Oh, I loved my talk with Coach Lynham. He's the linebackers coach at Liberty. Loved it. Great guy. Another great guy was Coach Mealy. He just was the special teams coordinator at Mississippi State. He's now a free agent coach. Great human being. We text back and forth sometimes. Great person to have on. He'll do it once he gets a job. Um, that's a tough one. I loved them all.
Yeah.
There's some bad ones. Don't get me wrong. At
Oh
the
yeah.
very beginning of it, there are some bad ones, but love all of them. But those type of people, they just get you fired up. Carrick's been on here a lot. Flexman 101. We always have just BS conversations. Like, that's why they don't get a lot of views. Some of it's about Illinois stuff, like Illinois high school sports. But that's what we're interested in. Um, So those type of people, I'm looking through all the videos trying to remember because some I don't even remember.
Well, to your point,
That's the
like,
sad thing.
and like Cody Gardner is always one of my favorite ones on, as you kind of pointed out. Like, because our first 30 to 40 minutes of the podcast will be nothing about football. It's usually to us talking
No.
food, like in his cooking and kind of shopping and food, and but at the same time, as much as I love Cody, it's also sometimes dreadful having him on because I know the podcast is going to be close to 2 hours, and editing that sucks. Like, there's a lot more raw. You don't really do too much editing. I'll go in and cut stuff and censor some stuff, and like for language wise, just so YouTube doesn't flag me and yell at me, and or nor does the podcasting apps. But like it, it's always an amazing time. But at the same time, it's like, oh, now I have to edit a 2 hour podcast. This is going to
Yeah.
suck. Like that's the double edged sword of that. And like again, to your point, John Arnett. I mean, I love John to death, and like I'd have him. There's certain people like all they have to do is text me if they want to come on, and like, yep, when you want to come on, I will get you. I mean, as long as my schedule works out, okay. Like I
Yeah.
don't. So like, and that's also the crappy part. Like when you have really good ones and they don't get views,
Yep. That's how
like
I feel a lot, and then
it
I
just
feel that way
sucks.
all the time.
Like and whether it's just because you enjoy talking to that person or because there's just good stuff in there, whether it's football or not football content, like the Cody Gardner one, like the last one we did, I have no idea how many views it has. I haven't even looked, but like it was so good just because of the just raw conversation
Mhm.
about food and shopping, and the fact that he broke a phone playing Tetris, like that's fun. And then on the opposite in that, like from a scheme perspective, like when I talked to my buddy John Puckett last time, he's talking about how he installs blitzes and teaches blitzes. Great football thing. I don't think it's got many views just because like not many people watch how to install blitzes, but it's such a great
Yeah.
conversation and so detailed. Like those are the ones you just like, like please watch this. It's good. You will enjoy
Yeah.
this.
Um, I love these. Two of my favorites have not come out yet. Coach Derrickson, he coaches at Eastern Illinois. It's not out yet, pre-recorded, whatever. Loved it. He is so passionate about football and just building great people and human beings. Love it. And I love the talk with Leonard just a little bit ago. Like it was, we talked about everything. We talked about coaches shortage. We talked about this. We talked about this. So it's just those type of things that people don't think about. Um, like I said, he took over a program in 2004 when it just started in 1996, and now he's won 9 state titles. Like, how does that happen? Um, and he doesn't have like, hey, here's my plan, here's my 3 C's, here's my whatever. Like he told me, he's like, I don't have that, and so it's just curious. It's just good talk. But again, I have another one that comes out. Coach Kane, he coaches at Division II level. We talked about the transfer portal for 30 minutes about just whatever. It doesn't affect him. Um, Coach Walls, he's part of the Run the Power podcast. Had him on. It's pre-recorded. Loved it. So it's just those type of things. But I loved them all. Loved them all. And Coach Mack is the one that really helped me get it going further because that was the first guy I had where I didn't have stuff written down to talk about. It was just talking.
Yeah.
That's when I found out he loves WWE. He loves golf. Um, his talk about golfing when a gator came up to him, like those type of things, and you're just like, oh. And that's the first time where I'm like, I don't need a script. Um, and unless you have like Arnett or Rudolph that feel like they have to present something, then you just go with it. But the rest of them are like, I love not presenting something. They don't need to.
Yeah. That's what I have people ask me all the time, like, do I need anything? I'm like, if you want to bring stuff, yes. You can bring
Hmm.
stuff all day long. I will gladly watch or talk about whatever. But other ones like, yeah, Q&A, I have questions.
Hmm.
Also BS about
Yep.
our stuff and have a good time. And yeah. I mean, that's why I think I end about every single one of these the same after I get off the call with the guys, at least the recorded part. I'm like, see, painless. They're like, yep, it was a great time. I'm like, yeah, because I don't
Yep.
like, I'm not like, if you don't want to answer something, I'm not gonna hound you. Like, it's not, doesn't do me any good. So, but
No, no.
Well, coaches, if you want to see part 2, go to the channel. So his channel, because his will probably be out before mine, just because I don't. Yeah, it just usually is.
Because you're big time. You're big time. That's
No,
why.
no, because I've just this is not counting editing. I think I have not because I think mid-March is kind of where it's current at, or early April, and I still have like 7 or 8 that I've not edited. So
Like I said, you're big time. Like I
no,
said, you're just answering questions.
it's called during Christmas break. I'm an idiot, and I just mass report. I'll just schedule 4 or 5 in a day. That's what that is. Now I've gotten smarter. I don't release them weekly anymore. I release them every 10 days right now, just because I mean, filming 52 of these in a year is
Yeah.
tiring. Like
Yeah.
scheduling, setting up times, editing 52 now. Like if I hit 52, I hit 52. My goal is that end of the calendar year is episode 200 to come out. I'm at one. I only know what I'm at right now. And I also got to figure out who I want for 200. That's the whole nother.
Oh, you might have to do like a Hodge. You might need to get Rudolph, Arnett, and them on at the same time.
I couldn't imagine what that would be like.
You got to. You got to be
I
like, hey
know,
guys.
but I mean, like if you put those two on, like their energies, like that might shut down my computer. That's
Yeah, you won't even talk. You might just be like, hey guys, go, and I'm gonna sit right here with this book and I'm gonna write down whatever you say.
oh god. Then actually no, you put those two on and Cody Gardner, and just let
Oh
just
my God. Can you just bring me on? I won't even be on a video. I just want to listen. I just put my AirPods in and just take a listen.
I don't even know what we would do. Like, and the sad thing is, knowing those three, football probably wouldn't even come up. We'd somehow get on to food, because you gotta remember the all. So Cody's, I mean, technically from the eastern side of the country, but he grew up on a lot of southern, like Cajun southern food, and
Yep.
Don's down in Texas, and then Alan's is from the South too, and spent a long time in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Like, oh
Yeah.
my God, like that would be awesome. So, coaches, if you want to see the other part of this video, go to Coach's channel, like, share, subscribe on his channel, like, share, subscribe on mine, comment, all that, the YouTube algorithm crap. That helps people find this stuff. Supposedly that stuff helps. And then check out our sponsor, Coachpad, and otherwise, that's another episode of the Gap Down Backer podcast.